Hello children, welcome back to A Story with a Lesson. This story is about the Tzemach Tzedek. Now the story I'm going to tell you brings us to a little bit of a sad time in Jewish history, and it's something called the Cantonists. There was a time when the Jews were in Russia that there was a terrible decree by a very evil king called Tsar Nikolai, that's King Nikolai, and he decided that they would literally steal these Jewish kids. So every community, let's say there's 1,000 Jewish kids in this community, so that community had to provide, let's say, 10 Jewish kids. And these kids would go into the army from the age of 5. They were ripped away from their mothers and their fathers. For 25 years they had to live with a peasant where they were treated terribly. And it was a terrible, terrible thing. The whole idea was to try to convert these kids to Christianity, which it really didn't work. And eventually it was stopped. But while this was going on, unfortunately there were what was called chappers. There was a certain amount of kids that had to come from each community, and there were these people that would go and they would steal children to provide them for the Russian government. So it's a very sad thing. Can you imagine a child being stolen from a family, how the parents would feel, how the child would feel? A terrible thing. So there was a chassid, I forget his name, who decided that he would risk his life because it was going against the government, and the government in those days wasn't like the government today where you can have a court case and you can sue the government. But whatever they wanted, if you didn't listen, they could kill you, and they would kill you. That he would risk his life to steal the children back from the chappers. But then he couldn't give the children back to their parents because the parents, because the chappers would come to those people and they could take them because the government would say that these children, so to say, belong to the government. So he would have to farm these kids out, find a place of a Jew in a village far away, so they give the kids up for adoption. It was a very complicated thing. And he decided to dedicate his life. He gave up his job. His whole life was dedicated to rescuing these children. When this man, let's call him Moshe, came to the Tzemach Tzedek, listen to this. The Tzemach Tzedek said, Moshe, I am jealous of you. Imagine like the Rebbe saying to someone, I'm jealous of you. Meaning, what you're doing is even greater than what I'm doing. Here's a Rebbe with hundreds of thousands of chassidim. And yet, this reminds me as I'm speaking, there was a story when the Tzemach Tzedek was feeling down. He was feeling sad. And his sons, there were 7 great tzaddikim, they were trying to make him feel better. So one of them said, Tata, father, you have hundreds of thousands of chassidim, people who look up to you, and it didn't make him feel better. Then he showed him a bookcase. You wrote 100 books. Tzemach Tzedek wrote a lot of books. Didn't make him feel better. And then one of his sons said, you made Nehemiah the tailor of Baal Tshuva. He says, then he felt better. So now you see how great it is to bring someone closer to Hashem, to save a neshama. So Tzemach Tzedek probably felt that this man is saving so many neshamas that and obviously as a tzaddik he could see how great this was, how great his reward would be. He felt that he was jealous of the greatness of this person. So think about the lesson that this story can teach us, that a Rebbe can be jealous of a Yid who makes Baal Tshuvas and who helps other Yidden. I love you. Thanks for watching. And keep on doing Torah mitzvahs, doing all the good things, because as I always say, what you children can do, every mitzvah that you do brings Mashiach much more than even what the adults can do. Thank you so much.